This podcast is binaurally recorded, also known as ASMR, which means it's highly recommended that you use a headphone or headset to listen, as it'll give you a full listening experience, as it is a multi-directional microphone. Alright, enjoy the show. MetaTalks continues with Azyxa and not Jeppy. Today's date is September 20th, 2013, and this is episode 18. A nerd, a noob, and a dog.
With dyed hair.
With dyed hair. And an awesome mohawk. So, yes. Okay, so MetaTalks no longer has Jeppy as a host right now. He has moved on to cooler and better things. You can find him, if you miss him, which I'm sure you do, at Wow Geekly, which is his World of Warcraft podcast with Ashayo, and the Duvet Cave with Strumpet, which is a kind of general geeky podcast that they talk about World of Warcraft, nerdy things, Doctor Who.
They talk about Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Huh.
Apparently Strumpet doesn't like it. And then he kicked her out of the show. Or threatened to, or something like that.
Doctor Who is awesome.
So, yeah, okay. So we're
nerds.
We're nerds. And I am attempting to have a new host, and his name is Azyxa.
Hello.
And he's what he was supposed to be the nerd.
I am the nerd.
And I'm supposed to be the noob, and Daisy's the dog.
Yes.
But luckily, Jeppy suggested that we use MetaTalks, so our podcast didn't have to be called a nerd, a noob, and a dog.
That would have been a cool name, though.
It would have been a cool name, but so it's MetaTalks. Okay, you can unnerd yourself if you want to. Well, these are my dad's classes, by the way. These are like vintage, circa 1965. This is like before hipsters were even born.
Yes, he was the first hipster.
He was the original hipster. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let you get to know Azyxa a little bit better. And so we're going to start off by asking you what your IQ is.
201.
Right. Okay, so you're a gamer.
I am.
You were. That's how we met through World of Warcraft. Actually, through WoWcast.
Yeah, WoWcast.
Podcast.
And then World of Warcraft.
Yep. And, but you've played numerous other games.
I've been playing games since Atari.
Since Atari. Yes. What did you play?
I played... What did I like? I used to play Frogger with my mom. On Atari.
Okay.
And I played Joust and Pac-Man and Tank. Pretty much everything for Atari.
Wow, you guys had a lot of games.
When I was younger, I was pretty serious. I think I played half the library of NES games in existence.
What?
Yeah.
We only had Donkey Kong and Space Invaders.
Well, I didn't have all the games, but I ended up working at a used video game store, and so they made us play all the games, so we knew about them. So I've probably played, I don't know, 150, 170 NES games. Played maybe half the SNES games. Played pretty much every system.
Okay.
That
you're really living up to the nerd title.
that people could realistically get their hands on.
But, okay, so you're the type of person who just enjoys trying out all different sorts of games. Like, you're not someone like, you know me, I'm pretty picky about, like, what I play. And I can turn off a game, like, really fast if I don't like it. And there are a lot of titles that I just won't even gravitate towards at all.
Yeah.
There's no way, even if I had the resources when I was that young to play that many games, that I would have. I mean, like, I had access to my brother's Super NES, and I didn't play, like, Street Fighter.
Did you try them at least?
I tried them, but there were, like, Final Fantasy, like, the tactical ones. What was it, F1 through...
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah. I just, turn-based stuff didn't do it for me at all.
Not appealing?
No.
Yeah, it's like playing chess, but
yeah.
Those little anime graphics and bunch of weapons.
Yeah, so you'd say, like, you're actually someone who enjoys playing pretty much everything, or is there stuff that you don't really, are not interested in?
I used to play everything. I would say from Atari all the way till, I don't know, maybe around the N64 days, I played everything I could get my hands on. I played everything I could find for the computer. I just enjoyed gaming. As I got older, I started to become more picky. One, because of time. As you get older, you don't have
Wait,
much time.
when you say older, like, what are we talking about? 8?
No, 20s. Mid-20s.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe mid-20s. Well, early 20s. I stopped playing as much.
Because you got into MUDs?
Well, the games took a hit when I started mudding. And for those who don't know what a MUD is, it's basically it's what MMOs were before they were graphical. It was like a text-based multiplayer adventure where if you
are in a cave.
You were in a room, and that would be the room title. There would be a description, like here's a couch, and like there's some people over here, and there's like a little lamp in the corner. And
This is all text.
It's all text.
Yes, all text.
And then it gave you the directions. It'd be like you could leave through the north, you could leave through the east. And so to leave, you would type N, enter. So you went north, and then it would bring up the room description for the next room. So everything was all text. And yeah, when I started college, some friends of mine got me into mudding, and it was bad. It was worse than World of Warcraft, actually.
Really?
I would play for like 13 hours at a time sometimes, and it was ridiculous. And actually, I still play the same MUD to this day. I think my Realms of
Darkness.
No, it's Realms of Despair.
Oh, oops.
It's the MUD.
Despair.
The MUD's actually based in Toronto, Canada. It was created by a guy named Derek Snyder, and he started this ISP company, but he was into programming and he liked MUD, so he created his own and hosted it at his own ISP company.
ISP being?
Like Internet Service Provider.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know. And so it became very popular, and it's surprisingly still popular. I think maybe 400 to 800 people still log daily.
Wow.
Which is quite a bit. I think my main character has 35,000 hours. That's years straight, people. Years straight.
Nice calculator thingy.
But yeah, I've been playing since '94, so.
That's crazy.
That's a lot longer than World of Warcraft. It's been around.
But you also played the D&D stuff as well?
You mean like pencil and paper?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I played Dungeons and Dragons. Not too early. I guess my friends and I got into it around high school.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think before that, video games definitely took precedence because they were just, they're easier to pick up, easier to play. We didn't have like these tomes to go through, and like it was like homework, but not homework. I guess it was fun homework. But yeah, I would play Dungeons and Dragons. Played in high school, played in college, played in my 20s, played again in my 30s, just throughout the various iterations. But I can never stick with it. I think it's hard unless you have a good group, and you need a really good dungeon master, like someone who leads the game, who's really good at telling stories, and that's very hard to find. So
yeah, I mean that's like you only need one awesome dungeon master, and it's like amazing. Or you could have like all these people willing to play, and then it's like completely boring because
yeah.
The
one time we had this guy from Carnegie Mellon, dungeon master for a bunch of friends and I, and we spent like 3.5 hours searching for a bear in the woods for some king who like gave us this mission, and like it was terrible, so boring. I think I got drunk during it and just gave up. I was like sitting there like studying my character sheet, which was more interesting than this guy telling the story.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. I played Earthbound actually. I only played a little bit of D&D, but my group for some reason decided to play Earthbound instead of D&D, and my dungeon master, which was called a game master actually, instead of dungeon master in that game, he was really good. But the problem was he made us really powerful really fast. We're practically gods in a month. So yeah, it was kind of short lived, but it was fun, and that's where Alachi came from.
So what is Earthbound exactly, for people that don't know? Because I had never heard of it.
It's just a role-playing game. It's just like, D&D in a way, but the world is actually a little bit more dark and twisted, I guess, that it has its own, like, verse stories, basically, that this thing called the Horde, not like Horde as in World of Warcraft, but a Horde as in this dark, terrible thing came over the lands and basically, like, inflicted pain on everything and everybody, and scourged, or maybe it's called the Scourge. The Scourge, yeah, and it scourged, like, the entire, like, planet or whatever that fantasy world was. And Yeah, and it's basically like the aftermath and like how the people like adapt into that world and their adventures of trying to find things in that world and the people they meet. Like my name Alachia comes from the Blood Elf Queen from that world, who actually, in order to avoid being destroyed by the Scourge, she inflicted so much pain on her own people by having them be cursed with thorns. Mm-hmm. So basically thorns would sprout from their skin.
Yeah.
And then they would basically be in constant pain. And the Scourge was only, like, or Scourge or Horde or whatever, was only attracted to things that were, innocent or, that were easily corruptible. So if you're already in that much pain, it wasn't worth it for them to actually do anything. Unfortunately, most of the Blood Elves died during this, the curse. So they're now called, like, but they did survive, so. But she was cool. She was a troubadour.
So they turned this into a novel, or was this a novel first?
I don't think there was novels, or at least I've never seen any novels. There might be some novels, but yeah, no, it was just an RPG game.
Oh, she was just like she was a non-player character.
She was a non-player. Yeah, and there was tons of them, which was really cool because that's like one of my favorite parts of like RPG games is actually reading the NPC like backstories and stuff. So and finding which ones were really, really cool. Okay, so
how long was it?
145 days.
Straight?
Straight.
So not a year.
You said 35,000 hours, right?
Yeah.
So I divided that by 24, so that's 145.
Maybe 37 at this point, but still. That's a lot of days straight.
That's kind of how much I played World of Warcraft.
Is it?
Yeah. I calculated my hours a long time ago.
Well,
it was like almost a year.
Yeah, I wonder what
it was ridiculous.
Your slash play.
Yeah, slash played.
Slash played, yeah. My slash played for a while was not near that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like you actually play a lot of things, but you tend to be very casual about a lot of the things you play.
Yeah, I am much more casual than I guess you and your guildmates were. Because one of the things I liked when I was younger, before WoW hit, we had like Asheron's Call. There was Ultima Online. What are some of the other ones? There was Asheron's Call, and then there was the other one that was really popular. Drawing a blank. But regardless, like every time a new one would come out, I enjoyed beta testing it. Mm. So I would beta test all of these, and then I would play for a little while as it went on. Yeah, I beta tested Final Fantasy, the original online, Final Fantasy XI. But yeah, I just never stuck with them. I think WoW was the first MMO that I stuck with, that I really enjoyed. And I started maybe like a week before Burning Crusade, so it wasn't from the beginning. Yeah,
I played right after, I think Vanilla was released, about a month, I started playing World of Warcraft. So I played from the beginning, and then I stopped right after Wrath of the Lich King. Right before Cataclysm came out, I completely stopped. And I haven't played a game since, like online, except for D3.
D3.
Which I guess you can count that, Diablo 3.
Yeah, not an MMO though, but...
Yeah, it's not an MMO, but I
social.
Haven't really wanted to play a game since because it just was so... I don't know. I mean, it was pretty much encompassed like most of my life for 6 years.
Yeah, you'd invested a lot.
5-something years. So I kind of was like, oh, maybe I'll try to have like a real life or whatever. But now it's like, guess who's back? Back again. Alachia's back. Because she has no friends.
Yes, you do.
No.
As long as you don't get too sucked in.
Yeah. That's the thing is like I have a hard time like learning how to just be casual, which is like, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I have been kind of avoiding games altogether just so that I don't get sucked in and I can like try to do different things and stuff like that. Like go outside and do things, dancing, see the signs and sights. And I've actually seen more of Austin in the last 6 months than I have in the 10 years that I lived before. So I have actually like gone out more and done things. Yeah. So but then again, the thing is also that you need balance. You can't keep going out every day.
No,
it's really tough to do something like that.
You'll be poor and you'll be exhausted.
Yeah, you'll be very poor.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nothing wrong with playing a game down there.
Right. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah. So things we plan on covering or talking about. You're very big into comics. Which is weird. I'm wearing a Superman shirt, and he's wearing a Captain America. Which makes it look like he's Marvel, and I'm DC.
Which is not the case.
Which is not the case, because he's actually DC, and I'm neither. I'm just a Superman-like fan.
And the Hulk.
And the Hulk.
What
Superman and the Hulk.
Hulk's Marvel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're a bit of both.
Yeah, so I'm both.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, so we plan on talking about things like, movie reviews. We have a lot of ideas. Superman, the movie that came out this summer, gave us a lot of ideas on script writing.
Yes.
And we have...
How to do it better.
Yeah. We thought about a lot of ideas on, like, what we could probably do in terms of a podcast / vlog, whatever, where we can actually discuss ideas of, like, how we think the plot should probably have unfolded, and then actually maybe even attempting to do some script writing just for fun, just to see, like, how it might go, brainstorming, getting feedback, finding out from people, like, what they thought of it, and then, like, seeing, like, what their ideas might have been in terms of, like, how they thought the movie should have gone. Just to touch on that, I watched it and I wasn't that appalled by it at first, because I found it to be actually very endearing in terms of, like, how I think of Superman, which is, very all-American, good old boy, kind of bring a tear to your eye, patriotic and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, when I took a step back after watching it, I love the fight scenes and everything like that. The CG was amazing. But you take a step back, and then as you learn more and more from comic nerds about who Superman is, what he's capable of doing, the type of person he actually is, then you start to see all the lost potential, and then you're just like, wow, like, that's really a shame, because, like, you get this sense of, like, what America or the world thinks Superman is, but when you actually, like, read the comic books, or if you know anything about the backstory, which is, I love to wiki everything, so, like, I'm a big wikier, and so that's, I'll find it something I'm interested in, I'll just wiki the hell out of it, and just go through links and links and links of finding out information about people, and I especially love fictional history about things and people, and Superman Clark Kent is just, it's really amazing how little we actually know, so we plan on talking about things like that, and, like, stuff that you just didn't really understand or know about Superman if you didn't read the comics. And if you are, then you'll be like, old news, whatever. So, she's growling,
yeah. She's angry. I think she's protecting us from evil.
She's like, that movie sucked.
He's wearing the Superman.
And then, of course, all sorts of other movies and things like that. It doesn't have to be necessarily comic geeky related, but it is kind of like a thread or theme, because we do gravitate towards more geeky type things, I guess.
Yeah, we might talk about games on occasion.
Yeah.
But it won't be the focus.
Right.
And video games, and, as well as maybe, like, card games or...
Exactly. It's
or
the current thing, like, right now is, like, Magic the Gathering, in terms of playing and learning, which I started this year, which I never would have thought I would have gotten into, because my brother tried to show me how to play this game back in 1993. No, 94 or 95, I think.
Yeah,
and
seems right for his...
he was like 13 years old at the time, I think, or something like that. He's 5.5 years younger than me. And I was like, I would look at it and I'm just like, first off, the art sucked. And I was like, this is not even pretty to look at.
Art was so bad.
Yeah, and then I was looking at the cards and trying to read it and trying to figure out how they were playing. And he showed me once, and I was just like, I can't get into this. I was playing Doom at the time. And so, like, I was like, when in high intensity stuff, I was playing, like, Descent and Usurper on BBSs and stuff like that. So I was really much more into the intense things. So I kind of wrote it off, and, over the years, my brother, like, has been playing off and on, and kind of always known what it's about. It wasn't until this year that I actually started to actually try to learn how to play it again. And, hearing my brother continually talk about how, like, amazing the game is, and even after not playing it for 5-6 years, he'll, like, come back and he'll be like, man, I just really want to play that game, because...
He gets so excited.
Yeah, he gets so excited. He's like, it's like playing chess, but, like, more complicated, and, like, it's more creative, and like, you have to think about what your opponent's gonna do, and what the cards can do, and you can, like, create your deck to, like, do this, and this, and so I just kind of, like, got a little more interested, and finally I learned. And so I'm learning right now, and but I'm just starting out, and I'm learning a lot. So we had planned to, like, actually do a little bit more in terms of, like, sucking people in who haven't actually played it before, or have heard of it but don't know how to play it.
Yeah,
and when you
teaching.
Right, and when you hear about it from, like, like, just like when I used to watch my brother and his little nerdy friends play it, like, I would be like, no way, I can't play this, it's too complicated. Which it is kind of complicated when you, like, look at it, in terms of individual cards and like their gameplay, but the actual basic gameplay is very easy to learn. It's like when I was telling my friend Flipmax, we were trying to suck into the game. We're like, he's like, "Is this difficult to play?" And I'm like, "No, it's like," he's like, I'm like, "It's very, very easy to learn. Like, it's extremely easy to learn. It's like impossible to freaking like master or even like play well."
Or even play. And the other issue is like, there's like what, tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 cards.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. There's a lot to wrap your head around. Like if you wanna jump into the deep end.
Right. But I mean, it's a trading card game. It's like little cards you play with. It's not on the computer, although it is now on the computer. But it used to be just started out as like a trading card game, and I didn't even know. But like,
it started out in '93.
Yeah, '93. Which a lot of people were like, "Well, I thought Magic was a lot older than that." But it was the first trading card game, and it was like, and it's taken off, and it hasn't stopped since. And people have been playing it. And for some reason, it's seeing like a little bit of a re-emergence. For some reason, maybe. Do you think it's because of Hearthstone or? I'm not sure.
I think it's because I think part of it is because the sets have gotten really good in terms of balance and the artwork and the cards being interesting. They had a lot of Wizards of the Coast. They create the game. They had a lot of like periods throughout the years where they had a lull, where the cards were boring, they were underpowered. The game just wasn't that interesting. It wasn't that fun. But I think they hit a really good balance recently, and they also Magic Online. They have Magic Online, which is basically like the MMO version of Magic. So like everyone can just go in. You actually have to buy the cards on the game. So like instead of like a real physical pack, you spend money, you get like a digital pack. You open it up, it goes to your collection. That has, I'm not sure how many people are playing, probably tens of thousands. That came out. I beta tested it with my friend Sean. We beta tested it in, I think, around 2001, 2002 maybe. And I think it picked up a little bit around there, but I think it got really popular when they actually started releasing Magic for the iPad. So maybe it might have been 2002, 2013. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me on that, but they started releasing it for
2012. You mean 2012?
2012, yeah 2011 maybe. Mm-hmm. They released it for the PC on Steam. They did it on the iPad and I think a number of other platforms. It's on the PlayStation 3. It's on the Xbox. So I think that got people into it who wanted to, like, what's this Magic thing? They learned how to play like on like a console or on the computer, and so that mechanism, it makes it easier to learn the game. And so then they might become interested in it. They're like, hey, I'm going to go check this out. Maybe my friends and I can play it. And they go buy cards. So
yeah, I guess I could see that. But you started playing it in '94?
It came out in '93. I started playing it in 1994, I believe, early '94. I was trying to remember earlier today, because I knew we might have mentioned it. Trying to remember, like, who exactly introduced me to it, like which one of my friends, and for the life of me I cannot remember. But someone had mentioned it, and we started buying packs and playing, and yeah, we really jumped into it. And that was around the time we were playing Dungeons & Dragons, and we were just heavily into video games in general, so it's we kind of ate it up.
What would have drawn you to play a trading card game if you were in, like, if you're into computer games and consoles? Like, why would you go to paper, like, physical?
It's a good question. I think it's because when we all got together, we would, like, we would play Street Fighter, we would try to play a video game, but, like, we can only play so much of that. And, like, we would try playing Dungeons & Dragons, and, like, we would play, but then we would get bored of that. I think it was just something different, and it's nice because it's very portable. Like back in the day, like, we had, like, Game Boys with green screens, which were ugly, and laptops were, like, way huge. And so, like, it was nice because, like, we could bring our cards on a trip. We could bring our cards, like, to the mall, to a restaurant if we were bored. Like, we'd just, like, pull out the cards and start playing. Like, a game might take, 5 minutes. And, like, so it was nice to have something that, like, we could geek out on, like, portably. And the game, I guess for us, it's heavily strategy based. It's like playing chess, and a lot of my friends and I, we love strategy games. We like strategy games.
Hence Final Fantasy and
Final Fantasy Tactics, but even, like, strategy games like MechWarrior, like the board game MechWarrior, which was all strategy too. So we just kind of gelled with us. Like, we enjoyed it. And they're basically, one of the points of a trading card game is that they release a set of cards. They do a print run, and then they'd print no more of these cards, and then like maybe like later on in the year they do another print run of these cards, and that's how they get you, because like you get some cards, you find out, oh, this is a cool, powerful card, this card's exciting, maybe I like the artwork, and then like these cards go out of circulation and their value goes up, and we started to see that, and we're like, wow, this is exciting. So we have these cards like worth like so much money, and so we started. That's where the collectability comes in. So we started collecting them, then we started looking like into the stuff that came out in '93, and some of that stuff was expensive. You know, like.
Okay, technical difficulties, but we're back. We were in the middle of discussing what drew you into playing Magic: The Gathering, the card game, when you're basically playing consoles and Nintendo, or consoles, handhelds, and PC stuff.
Yeah. So I guess just to reiterate real quickly, like I guess the collectability kind of like hit us. It's like when you're playing World of Warcraft, which is not the same mechanic, but like there's mechanics in there to like draw you in, like game mechanics to draw you in. So like you're playing World of Warcraft and like you just keep playing. There's mechanics that just kind of suck you in. The collectability for the game for us, like we started playing it, we started realizing like these cards are worth like, it's like, hey, some of these cards are going to go up in value, and that's kind of cool. Like we'll keep getting them. On top of the fact that it was a fun game for us, strategy-wise, but we started looking back into the cards in like 1993 where they first came out. Some of the rare stuff, and like some of the cards at the time, they were like the Black Lotus, which is like the king of all like Magic cards. It's like the most expensive, considerably, like it's technically considered the most powerful card as well. It's it was maybe around like $100 like when we were playing. It was like maybe what, $200 when
my brother was playing, because I remember he used to talk about it, and I would just be like, "What's this Black Lotus?" And then
what is this Black
he even
Lotus?
Showed me like what the card looked like, and I was like, "It's
ugly.
It's ugly.
It is like hideous. It's a
like,
hideous card.
It's just this ugly Black Lotus looking card."
So yeah, it's just a black,
and then I would read it,
flower.
and of course I didn't understand it. I'm like, add 3 what? Mana, 2 your what? Like, why is this good?
Yeah.
You understand now, but like, yeah, at the time I didn't understand it. But yeah, even then that was considered expensive. But now, like, I actually saw on eBay when I was looking once, there was an alpha completely like mint condition for $30,000.
Yeah, and alpha is the very first set.
Yeah.
There was alpha, there was beta, and then there was unlimited, and then there was a revised. But from alpha, beta, and unlimited, they were like the first 3 experimental sets. Basically all the cards were the same, but I think they were kind of like reworking, like the color scheme and like a lot of the stuff, and like the borders, like the borders between alpha and beta changed. But yeah, the original $30,000 for mint. I think we looked real quick out during the break. For non-mint alphas, $10,000. The cheapest you can get one, and that's like the unlimited set, is probably around $2,000. So yeah,
that's insane. Now, are these legal still in all the games?
Well, they're legal.
Only in Vintage.
We'll discuss that. Do you want to discuss that?
Yeah, we'll discuss that later. I was just curious.
Yeah, there's different formats. Like the Black Lotus is only legal in one format, and that's the format called Vintage, where everyone can play everything they want.
Yeah, because there are cards that were printed now that you can't even play, right? Legally in tournaments and stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah. Because they're too broken. They're too powerful. Too powerful.
Well, like God cards. But yeah, so that was like one of the things though that did kind of put me off of not of playing Magic. I was never going to play it back then, but of even liking it or respecting it, because I thought to myself, like, oh, well, only like rich people can play this game, and the richer you are, the more powerful you are. So it was like for me, it was like, it seemed like a really weird imbalance of things where like I guess like the way I used to look at being able to, kind of like how I used to look at gold farming type stuff in World of Warcraft, where like you could buy like gold and then get a little bit better gear or something like that, but they balanced that out pretty fast. But just like it didn't seem right to me that like if you could afford a better card or to play to add to your deck, then that doesn't seem fair to me that so anyone who can only just afford like a booster pack like couldn't get like everything else. So, I mean, does that balance itself out during trades, or are you just screwed if you don't have a lot of money? Or just don't even play this game if you don't have money?
Well, back then...
I mean, because my brother's 13, and he used to beg my father for, like, $20 to buy, stuff. So I know he wasn't rich,
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, when the packs come out, you get a pack of, what, 15 cards for a booster pack? And they were, back then, how much were they? They might have been $2.99. I think now they're $4.99. So you just, you buy what's out. And every set you buy what's out. But that's the thing, to go back and buy the stuff that's gone up in price, you have to spend money if you want that stuff. But that's back then. I think Wizards of the Coast, who makes the game, they're still kind of like figuring the game out in terms of like, different formats for tournaments and stuff. And so back then things were a little bit shaky, but now they pretty much have it worked out. Like there's cards that are banned. In Vintage, there's cards that are restricted, where you can only have one of them in your deck. Normally, you can have 4 of any type of card in your deck. But most people, they play which is called Standard, and so Standard is like the last 5 like blocks, so like the last 5 grouping of sets, and that's all like the new stuff. So it's all affordable, and people just play with that, and so they're always playing with the new stuff. And every time a new set comes out, stuff rotates out, and it becomes sometimes can become more expensive depending on the cards.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes think I never would have played if it weren't for like my brother let me have his burn deck, which is a red deck, and then his blue deck, I guess, that he built.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, if I were to start from scratch on my own, I would be clueless. I wouldn't know what to do, and I wouldn't even know how to play. Like, I mean, I've searched tutorials online. On YouTube and everything, and like the best tutorial that I've found was the original 1993 VHS Magic the Gathering from Wizards of the Coast release that came with the actual starter pack. Unfortunately, it's filled with so much hokey weirdness that it's unwatchable, but in terms of actually showing you how to play, it's actually really good. So what we plan on doing actually is the next video, I think, will be a tutorial on how to play Magic the Gathering. I hope I'm not mixing World of Warcraft and Magic the Gathering. Like, I keep wondering if I'm switching the words out. Anyways, Magic the Gathering is what I mean.
Yes, Magic
the Gathering.
And
so we'll actually set it up so that, we're going to have multiple cameras, we're going to have multiple angles, and we're going to actually just walk people through it entirely from a noob perspective, basically like me learning how to play. And I will ask like all the questions that I asked originally, and probably still questions that I have now, because I'm constantly asking like, what does this mean? What does vigilance mean again? I know you've already told me 20 times, but I have forgotten. And so there's a lot of things like to learn in terms of like, as you watch. But the best way to learn how to play Magic is to play Magic. And
definitely. That's typically the way with like all board games and card games, like physical card games and board games. Like, you just have to play. Like, someone sitting there explaining to you. Like, and even me, like, I've played, I don't even know how many board games, tons of card games, video games galore. But like, my friend Sam, who I used to game with a lot, he would bring over a new board game. He'd explain it to me. Like he'd be pointing at the pieces. I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. And I like his eyes glaze over. I'm like drooling. I'm like, let's play and I'll figure it out. And that's just the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, every time like someone tries to explain or has tried to explain Magic to me before, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, got it, yeah, sure. But it wasn't until the cards were actually in front of me, I drew 7 cards, and I was like, what the hell do I do now, that I actually figured out how to play the game. Yeah, so I figured it might be kind of fun, because there are a lot of people that we want to be able to, like, maybe meet up with someday and be able to say, hey, let's just play Magic.
Play some Magic.
Valentine's. Yeah, and so then they can just, like, sort of, we can, like, say, hey, watch this little tutorial, and you'll be able to play, and you'll be able to, like, even if you don't have any cards in your hands right now or own any cards, like, hopefully you'll be able to, like, figure it out, pick it up, learn it. And then after that, we do plan on talking a lot about Magic, so...
Yeah, and this will be the perfect time, because Hearthstone's coming out. Not that I'm excited or anything.
Yeah, Hearthstone's coming out. It's in beta.
It's in beta, which is actually very good. Don't let her tell you otherwise.
I'm the type of person who jumps to conclusions, because one, I'm very jaded about Blizzard right now, so that's no secret, because of World of Warcraft and things that just didn't go the way that I thought they would. But anyways, so I did take a look at Hearthstone, having played Magic for a little bit, and then kind of looked at the tutorial and just was like, this is so dumbed down and basic, and it really wasn't until that I understood that the tutorial itself is really dumbed down and basic compared to the game. Like, that you understand, like, the game is actually a lot more fun, dynamic, and you can actually have, there's a lot more customizability than you think it would, which is what I find the most fascinating part about Magic itself, actually, is the customization. And So
it's not bad.
Yeah. So and Hearthstone's kind of coming out right now, which is why I kind of think like Magic is picking up as well, which is kind of exciting because like I would like more people that I know to get into it and play it and understand what I'm talking about when I'm nerding out about nerding about stuff that I'm learning, and I get really excited about it. And so hopefully like that helps and people are interested in hearing more about stuff. Theros is coming out tomorrow, which is a new set, I guess, of cards.
It's a new set. It's also the start of a new block. Each block is like 3 sets.
Yeah.
With a similar theme. And so
which comes out, block is per, how many blocks come out per year? 1 block? Or you said 2? But
one
anyways, a bunch of cards come out and people get really excited about it. And everyone's always wondering like what the theme is going to be, and this theme this time is like mythology, like
it's sort of like Greek and Roman mythology, but
Medusa type things,
but not like they're all they're using like there's like the gods, there's like the god of the sea with the trident, very iconic characters, but like they're all different names, like they're just made up names for magic, which is kind of sounds a cool idea. So like it's like basically just like Greek mythology. Yeah.
So that I plan on hopefully covering a little bit of that at the release tomorrow, which should be interesting. I'm not sure. I have serious social anxiety, so if I don't play, which I'm pretty sure I won't because I'm too freaked out because I've never built a deck before. I would freak out and
there's a lot of pressure. You have to basically open a big pack of cards and you have to build a deck in like 15 minutes, like real fast. And
I've never built a deck before. I've only slightly sort of started to build an EDH deck, so I'm a little I think I would probably have like a panic attack. And plus it's like a bunch of like really smart nerdy people around you, and then you're like going like, I don't know how many lands do I put in this thing, and you just feel like a complete dumbass. So I don't know if I'm going to subject myself to that. I do want to play though, but not with a bunch of people I don't know, and I'd probably freak out. But I might. So what I'll do is I'll probably bring the camera and like actually cover a little bit of it, so you can kind of see like the sort of excitement that a lot of people have about this game. Which again, you wouldn't think would be that exciting because it is just cardboard, but it actually people get really, really excited about it, and now I understand why. So hopefully I'll do that tomorrow, and then that'll be aired later on, maybe in a mini like sort of podcast thing, vlog, or
it makes sense
maybe
to
next
do
time.
it after we teach people.
Oh, that's true.
Because then you could like you could like capture some of the cards and be like, hey, here's some of the new cards.
Yeah, so you can understand the cards. Yeah, so we'll break everything down in our little tutorial type video later on.
And I can tell you all how badly I lost the tournament.
You're supposed to win.
Okay, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win.
You're supposed to be a wiener.
I'm gonna be a wiener.
So that'll be interesting. There's going to be a ton of people there, so it's going to be kind of crazy.
Yeah, 50 or 60 probably easy.
I think. And there's like every little place that has Magic or sells Magic cards tends to do these
a lot
tournaments,
of
right?
Pretty much every comic book store who, I guess they have to be sanctioned by Wizards of the Coast, who creates the game. And they just do that by having a bunch of tournaments. And so, it's sanctioned by Wizards, and basically every
Sanctioned by Wizards?
Sanctioned by Wizards, like Harry Potter and shit. But they most comic book stores they hold a tournament. That's one of the ways they make their money, which is great because comic book stores they're having a tough time now because with Amazon and Comixology and stuff like that, people are just getting their comics online, so they're not buying them as often in the comic book store. So they have to like hold events. They have to hold signings. They hold tournaments for Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, and they have an entry fee, and that's how they're making their money. So most of them try to do that. Otherwise, they go out of business, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's kind of cool because like this place is actually pretty neat, pretty new.
It's huge. Yes, it's a beautiful gaming store. It's like a gaming mecca store.
Maybe I'll see if they'll let me film it so you can kind of see. And then like we also plan on maybe covering some stuff in the future about Final Fantasy as well, 14.
Yeah.
Because
check it out.
Jay Valentine, aka Cowboy, decided to message me today and was like, "Hey, you want to watch me play? I'm gonna stream it." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." Like, and I start watching it, and I'm like, "Oh my god, the grass renders so beautifully, and like the Lalafels can jump now because you couldn't jump in the original version." So this is like the re-release of Final Fantasy XIV. The first one, I loved it, but no one else wanted to play it because the interface was so terrible and it was so buggy.
I couldn't play it because I couldn't jump.
Yeah,
that was the reason. I couldn't explore.
I
could not jump over a little ledge, like a little rock. I would just dish. I'm like, done. Can't explore, done.
It was too beautiful not to play. I mean, that was the thing about it. Like, I could forgive everything because it was so beautiful and so gorgeous. And I'm a graphics whore, and I love good graphics. And Final Fantasy is just... I played 11, and I loved it. And to this day... You know, my most vivid memories of, like, MMO, like, it's not World of Warcraft, it's Final Fantasy, even though I only played it for, like, 3 months, because the grind was so terrible, like, But anyways, like, yeah, but graphically, like, I just remember it being so epic and beautiful and gorgeous, and...
It's pretty.
And Final Fantasy XIV didn't disappoint either, but no one wanted to play it because it was so... horrible in terms of like
it was too Japanese.
Mechanics. It was too Japanese. Way too Japanese.
Grind fest. Yeah. Bad game mechanics.
Not even just the grind fest. It was just, you know, the actual interface itself was unusable.
Yeah, it was not intuitive.
So apparently I've been told that it's been reworked, redone, and it's great and amazing now, and I've been resisting because I don't want to play a PC game.
Down the rabbit hole.
I've been avoiding PC games like the plague because I don't want to get sucked in. I don't want to go to that default mode where I'm like, I'm going to play a PC game and then I'm just going to get on and then that's it. Like, you're not going to see from me for a couple of months.
I'll drag you out to the club.
Yeah, I'll never see the outside again because I get so sucked into things.
Club.
I mean, like, I already know, I gotta admit it, I'm an addict. Like, you know, there are things that certain people are drawn to and I'm drawn to, like, you know, PC games and I just get sucked in and I just can't get out for some reason. And unfortunately Final Fantasy XIV looks so beautiful and amazing, the revamp, reborn.
Yeah.
And I was watching Jay play and I was just like, this is so amazing and beautiful. And then as the perfect storm hits, my friend Edgy messages me and is like, hey, I accidentally bought 2 collector's editions of Final Fantasy XIV. It's like, would you be interested in playing it? And I was like, damn it!
Total setup.
It's like, can't resist. I mean, like, how can you resist that? First I get to see how beautiful it is again, and you can jump, and, like, they had some most amazing, like, scene where, like, you go into your own little room and the Lalafell jumps on the bed and crawls in the bed,
like rolls over
the bed, and, like
crawls
it's
to the
like
pillow.
and just like head plants into the pillow. It's oh god, it's so cute. I just it's just gorgeous, beautiful, and I want to play it so bad now, so I downloaded it.
Downloading now.
And I might be playing it.
And
so we might be talking about that.
Gonna try it too.
Yeah. So and then D3 expansion's coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
And I have a feeling I'm not going to get away with not playing that. So
we're gonna play that.
So
I've actually been getting into Diablo a little bit more. For some reason, I don't know. I guess I got more excited when they announced an expansion finally.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's kind of what we have planned for MetaTalks, and just basically, you know, random shit, you know.
Nerd now.
Whatever. We're just gonna get in front of a camera and waste time.
Yes.
And play some Magic. In video games. And talk about things that don't matter in life.
Yes. We might occasionally talk something about, like, the news. Once every 10 episodes, like, oh my god, there's an oil fire. Okay. Back to gaming.
Oh god, the world's exploding. But check out this new, like...
I got a Black Lotus.
Oh my god. Alright, so until next time, we'll be back. Again, we'll probably be back with that extensive tutorial next time, and then after that, who knows what we'll be talking about. If you want to contact us, my Twitter account is @Alachia, but I'm mostly responsive on Facebook, so it's also Alachia, ALACHIA. You can contact Azyxa @Azyxa on Twitter.
Yep, and
if you want to email us, we're at podcast@metatalks.com. Any other way you want to...
I'm Azyxa on everything else. Everything you can search for Azyxa.
Yeah.
Flickr, Tumblr, Facebook, everything. Azyxa.com, which...
.xxx.
No. Not yet. Work in progress.
Alright. So until next time, see you guys.
Bye.